Well, we go through a process. The government will go and take advice from Crown Law, Treasury and others about what the next step should be. But in good faith we'll look at the interim findings of the tribunal and make our decision in due course. We also need to sit down and talk to the Māori Party.
Are you happy to wait till that September report? Are you happy for a delay, whether it be November or next year?
Well, I don't think it'd be useful for me to comment. I mean, we've got a genuine process we need to go through now. That decision point was effectively made by the tribunal in issuing their report. So we just need to go through that process and look at it on its merits.
What's the latest you could go to market this year?
Well, again, I think we need to sort of get the orders established now. So the first thing is to respond to the tribunal, make what decisions we think are the appropriate ones with the rationale for that, and then work from there. But the government has plenty of time on its side.
Does this throw a spanner in your works, though, to be honest?
Well, no, I mean, it's highly predictable that that someone would go to the tribunal, and so there's no shocks here, I don't think, in terms of any response we've seen.
But the Māori Council is looking at court action too. Are you keen to avoid them going to court? So are you keen to get some kind of resolution with the Māori Party and with iwi Māori before some kind of court action, because that probably would delay them?
Well, the government's spelt out what it's been doing in this area for quite some time now, which is it's been negotiating iwi by iwi on rights and interests, and that's been a very successful process, and that's the basis of the claim that we took to the Waitangi Tribunal, which is we've got a very successful process and it's working well. But there's nothing new in that, and really I've just got to work through that process now. It's important that we do that properly and in good faith, and we'll be doing it.
If you say the water rights issue is being addressed, as you've just said, then you'd be inclined to ignore this interim recommendation.
I wouldn't want to speculate on any of that. I mean, I haven't had any advice. I intend to do that. We intend to sit down with the Māori Party. I mean, the Māori Party may well form a different view to the National Party. We don't have to have a unified, agreed response. It's just that we said in good faith we'd talk to each other about that. So it's just far too early to sort of speculate on what might happen next. There's a decision point that's been reached by the Waitangi Tribunal. They've laid out what they think should happen and what the next steps are. We just need to respond to that.
When are you going to see the Māori Party?
Shares? Why don't you set aside shares for iwi in advance of the flood?
Well, all of those things, our view has been, as we laid out in the Waitangi Tribunal, that the change in ownership of Mighty River Power or any of the other energy companies doesn't affect the Crown's capacity to recognise rights and interests of Māori where they're established.
When are you going to see the Māori Party?
I think it's, we were trying for Thursday, but I don't think it fits their schedule, so it'll probably be very early next week. I think the word is at the stage possibly Monday night.
You can choose to ignore, can't you, the reports?
We can, but we're also going to go through a proper and professional process now, and we'll listen to it in good faith.
Do you regret saying that you could have done? Do you regret your comments earlier in this process?
No.
How long do you think it might take to respond to the tribunal?
I don't know. I haven't had any advice on that. I've just been in Christchurch overnight. We'll get some advice in due course. We'll need our guys to look through all of the recommendations, what might happen next, the timetable, the implications. All of those things will be considered properly as they will look through it. There's a process to go through. We're not feeling stressed by anything we've seen. We'll just work our way through it.
You sound fairly laissez-faire. Could you wait until September?
Sorry?
You sound fairly laissez-faire. Could you wait until September?
Well, the issue really isn't now one of sort of negotiating that. The point is to go through the proper process, and that's just what I've got to do.